Howdy. I thought I would just try saying hello again. It's me. Sven Talks and Sven Walks. I haven't got to the series of Sven Walks yet, but I'm doing Sven Talks. I don't know when I'll put it up because I don't have a computer now for a few weeks. In fact, I don't have any contact with the outside world. The cable on my old iPad gave up the same day as the computer, my friend's computer, that was lent to me, which is, hope it's all right, but it's been looked at right now by somebody. So I've completely disengaged, which has actually been quite a liberation, to be perfectly frank, although sometimes it's irritating when I want to know what the weather is. And going for a walk and stuff, I go to in our day cafe in the community, I just check on the computer there. But yeah, I just thought I would, it's lovely not, I've come to realize, I've come to trust in the process, and I believe, so obviously everything in this video is what I believe, and I have friends who I know are beautiful, wonderful human beings and mean the world to me, and they think I'm completely full of it. They're trusting completely different sources of information. The thing about me is I don't trust any source of information per se, actually. I don't. I never have. Since I started this process, it's my own personal process, and I go over stuff for years and years, and I use my own deduction. And sometimes, and it's not a foolproof process, and I know I've been wrong sometimes. So I don't sit here and say, listen to me, I'm right, you're wrong. For me, the whole process is everybody get off your metaphorical asses and realize that not the only information is also worth knowing sometimes that's not in the mainstream. And in fact, on the contrary, I mean, it's got to the point to me where your perspective is very, very, it's very cramped if you're only looking in the mainstream for your information. We only think that information has validity, or you can respect it. What they're actually doing is that you look at it, it's controlled by 6 bodies that control all this media. I mean, you just analyze it, look at it yourself. And you only have to look at 9/11, that they were all saying exactly the same thing, and there was zero investigation on the most pivotal event in the last generation. My music's playing actually, but just a little plug. There's got music playing. All I've got for 2 weeks is the same little iPod shuffle with the same playlist that I haven't been able to change since April, since my Mac broke. And that's literally the last 2 weeks. It's quite a thing. I have to get used to that. That's my entertainment. That's my. I'm so glad I still have these great speakers that I invested in for my work when I could. But times are obviously not easy, and I'm not here to go boo and I need and want your sympathy. But God, like I had an interaction a few days ago or yesterday with a couple of mates, or the night before last, and it was nice and spontaneous. And I think there are 2 people who probably who've got a very different viewpoint to me. But I'm just kind of like, we don't have to talk about those things. And we're still good human beings. I'm the same person I always was. We used to hang out. I mean, that's what's happening to me now. It's a very, very scary time for me in a way, energetically, because, I mean, I can sometimes I get pissed off with people sometimes in these situations in the community now and then, and I don't have as good a self-control as I should. And it's happened on some occasions, and not as many as some people want to make out, but, and I apologize, and I'm not perfect. And one other thing I did was this one girl, and it's a long story, but I ended up giving her a note anonymously, and it was just meant to be for her, and just my opinion. And she publicized the photographs and put it on the community page, which I didn't expect. And so then, of course, this became an issue as well with me. And to cut a long story short, I'm really hated by quite a lot of people in this community now. So it's almost like here I'm like, am I a bad person for just doing what I don't know what I'm trying to rack my brain for what else terrible things I've done. I try to respect people all the time. I never make a noise. I'm always the one complaining about noise for the last 4 years, But then I'm the bad guy because they complained. I mean, it's almost like that. But in the Netherlands, getting angry is like killing someone. It's a sin. You're looked. It's looked very badly upon, frowned upon, as is not signing a note. By the way, I've learned those two things. That's also about the same as killing somebody. So yeah, it also partly explains things. But I'm here saying let bygones be bygones, and I'm about love, and let's be about love. And I'm not Mr. Perfect. I'm not pretending to be Mr. Perfect. Sometimes I've lost it, and there's a lot of frustrations in my life, some of which I was alluding to earlier. I can't work on my music or my films since April. Can't access my data. I was lent that was a Mac, and I was lent a PC laptop by a very kind mate, and I've been using that until now, so I can at least have some contact with the world in terms of just stuff that that helps me a lot, like watching old episodes of Magnum and things that help me on and suddenly I don't have any of that. It's quite frustrating, And yes, I was getting very involved in current affairs, and now I realize too much for my own good, and it was getting me strung out, and I think I'm better for this 2 weeks of not engaging, because the way I see it, there's a huge spiritual battle going on right now between light and dark. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And you can think that's public if you want, but this is based on my own personal research and views and things. And that's why we're seeing these crazy things going on in our society right now, which I don't have to describe, but we know what the hell they are. And I'm finding it extremely difficult being out on the street in public and keeping it together and not saying what I think, which because I just feel that there's such unbelievable ignorance and blind obedience to authority, which scares the shit out of me. And it's decaying the very fabric of of a society built on so-called democratic, open speech values, and it's getting to the point now, So I really believe that there's this battle going on, and so basically there's someone there's been a swamp running things for all this time, really, for a bit of an expression, and they've suddenly been threatened. So for the first time, I mean, in a big way, there's somebody in America who and he's been completely demonized, of course. The people who. The same forces, the same swamp that control the media, and of course they've done everything possible to send as much hate they can. They've launched a phony inquiry into so-called Russian involvement, which has proved fruitless, cost $50 million. Tried impeachment. I mean, the bottom line is, it's all happening because they know that if they don't stop this guy, it's their asses they're the ones going to get Mo to being exposed for what they really are, and some of their underbelly has been exposed already because they've kept those things out of the media all the time, like Epstein and blah blah blah. But there's a time when they couldn't even keep that hidden anymore. So I mean, I realized how corrupt their media is from coverage of 9/11, and once I got that in my head 14 years ago, it was like, okay, I am not interacting with you anymore because I don't trust you. You've completely wiped away any reason to trust you because you've betrayed me and the rest of humanity on the most important event of the last generation. So why would I ever be interested in looking anywhere near you for so-called information again? So then you say, well, then you get these people who say, well, you're automatically a conspiracy theorist because you reject the mainstream, and which is also nonsense. There's this notion that, that makes you, that automatically, no, it just means that I reject the mainstream media. It doesn't mean anything else. So that's another complete psyop they've done, is to make people immediately go, ching, he must be conspiracy learning because he doesn't, no, it's not like that. Never was. So people are not thinking straight anymore. It's really scary. Well, looking at human behavior right now, that's very clear. That they've lost the ability to just reason for themselves, basic reason. So anyway, what was I saying? I'm trusting. This guy, and he's no perfect man. He's no angel, but he's nothing what they've made him and tried to make him the devil. I mean, because it's their only hope of survival. They have to, and they've clearly tried to steal the election. There's such overwhelming evidence. But as I said, I've stopped following it, and I trust the forces. There's an alliance that is fighting the dark side, which is the base of the light, in my opinion. They're fighting for freedom, speech, openness, a free society, which is what we've had, in some way. Although, to me, the dark curse has been hidden and it's been flushed out now. That's why it's rearing its ugly head, its fangs right now. That's why things are so fucking freaky. So we have to see it as that once we can cleanse ourselves of this vermin, this unholy vermin. And I'm not going to go any further, but I've documented well on Facebook who I think we're talking about, etc. People who think they can fuck with us, with humanity, with our DNA even. I mean, these are scary fucks, and they need to be put away immediately before they cause any more harm. Just the fact that they're still, their wishes are still being authorized with the lockdowns and stuff. The damage that's doing to our society, and it's trashing small businesses every day. This has got to stop right now. I mean, this can't go on any longer. If it goes on much longer, the fabric of society is going to collapse. There's a point. I mean, that's their plan. They want that to happen because then they are the ones with the Great Reset, with the fix. It's all been pre-planned. This is how they operate. Those of you who do proper research with proper sources who know, and I'm not. It's up to you what you think of that is, but I've been researching very, very closely for 14 years, and and if people want to sneer at me and give me laugh emojis, and I've had all that, because yeah, sure, once you really think that you can't trust anything out of the mainstream, well, the thing about the mainstream, let me tell you how it operates. They try to be truthful about everything that they can, because that's the game, is to get your trust and respect, and in the TV news, they're always trying to create an air of authority. Right, everything is about authority. And it's completely Orwellian, dystopian. I mean, George Orwell stuff, but no one seems to notice. But anyway, that's how it works. But on the crucial issues, the defining issues, where they have to lie to get their agenda through, on those agendas, that's 9/11. The current manipulated crisis is here, and the election that's just happened. Those to me are the three most important issues of the last generation. Will be seen as, in my opinion. So those are the three where they are it's complete lies what they're writing. It's just absolute fabric. Anything, a fake scientist, anything that they can get away with, and then put some truth in there to try and make it seem okay. But this is crime of the very worst fabric, I'm afraid, my good citizens. And until we overthrow that yoke, we're never going to be liberated. We're going to, and I can assure you that if the dark side, they're not going to steal that election. I mean, there's no chance of it happening. I believe the thing is the perception is they can't. That because the mainstream forces that are controlling, the same side, of course they're trying to create the perception that it's a done thing, that they've got the election, and that the steal is all just a joke, and that it's not real, and that it's all just made up. And of course they're going to lie about that. It's the only thing they can do right now. It's either that or concede defeat, which is I think it's going to come. I'm feeling energy. On the 13th, just 2 weeks ago, today is 15 days later, so today is the 28th. It's the day after Thanksgiving in America, so yeah. I was hoping this could be a meaningful Thanksgiving for what America really is about, what we love about America, what I loved when I lived there and studied there and adored. Why, people wonder why I'm so involved with America, on Facebook and all that, because I feel like an American. I feel... I lived there long enough. It had a significant effect on me, and I was there when it was still socially free in the 80s. Before Clinton came in, it started becoming more like Europe in the energy and the authority clamping down on how life operated. But and hey, I'm not standing up for, this is not about Republican or Democrat. I was always actually Democrat. I was never for Reagan or any of that stuff. And the deep state, these dark forces, they just use, that doesn't matter to them. That they happen to be Republican before more, in the days of W and all that. And now they shifted to Democrat, that's all. And now the guy that's opposing them happened to use Republican as his vehicle. But he was a Democrat his whole life. And he's not a Nazi racist. Maybe he was before. I don't know. I think I got a feeling this guy changed. There's something happened. I see a change. I didn't like him in the 80s. When I lived in America, and everyone knew he was a famous businessman, and he's a crude, crass man. And I don't think he was I'm not sure he was a great person. And I'm sure you can find some dirt on him if you wish. But people. What the media doesn't want you to know is that people can and do change, and they change for the better, and they can. And I believe in this case it happened to some degree. I'm certainly not with some of the policies, and he certainly seems to have some very weird, bad people around him, like Pence and Krishna, and that's why I don't understand what the game is. But I believe that there's an alliance backing him, and they're trying to overthrow let's just call it the dark side for want of a better expression, but you can do your own research if you would. So this is a spiritual war game. So I've let go. I'm just like, well, I don't need to know the details. I don't need to watch endless YouTube videos like I was of people analyzing things. And I was very shocked with the way the election went. Was covered, I'll put in inverted commas, covered by the media, because their coverage of the election was nothing short of treasonous, actually, if you look at how it unfolded. That's why, to me, the U.S. military white hats, the good guys, they are completely within their rights, and I really hope they do. They should be going into the media and occupying them on the basis of treason. There's complete proof of that they are actually abetting the treason. It's an attempted coup d'etat. It's nothing short of an attempted coup d'etat. And you'll find that I truly believe that Trump won convincingly, but in truth. But let's see how this pans out. If the dark side does manage to get their guy in, well, I actually believe there's going to be intervention by a positive ET even. They won't let it. Otherwise, we're in a complete dystopia. Forget it. We're the liberal in this case is not the Democrats. The Republican is the liberal, actually. And if you look at the actual policies and the comparison and how they handle things, that's the joke. Is the people who are traditional liberals have fallen for the media garbage and all the lies about Trump, and it's really very sad. There's some people, like a wonderful woman, African-American woman who was a congresswoman in Georgia, Cynthia McKinney, and I've watched her interviews a bit, and she's just a wonderful human being, basically. She's a warm, loving soul. I don't know how she got into politics. It seems a miracle, but there are a few. There's some. A real compassionate soul. And she also knows she got cheated with the same machines in Georgia. She was a congresswoman for 12 years. And they cheated her out. The Democrats, she believes. And she's completely understands what's going on now, and she's completely pro-Trump. So I would really recommend check her out. And, it doesn't mean that's the thing. There was this march in Washington after pro-Trump, and you look at the people there. The perception the media will want to was that it's all white racist Nazis. If you look at the people there, first of all, it was 1 million or more than 1 million. Or the media says there was probably no one there. Right? They didn't report it. It didn't exist. They were actually by the CNN building in Washington. This is a joke. But it's just regular. If you look at the pictures, it's regular people of every ilk who are sick of the swamp and the establishment, and they're fighting them. And they're black, white, straight, gay, straight people, hippie people, right? All kinds of people. That's the point. It's transcending. This is a spiritual battle of light against dark. And if you can't see that, and think I'm crazy, I get that, and I don't believe I believe I'm seeing it as sanely as possible, and I don't, as I say, I don't pretend to always be right, but this is my. So I'm going to leave you with that on a Saturday morning, and I don't know when I'm going to upload this because I don't have a computer, but it's a very long one. So yeah, I'm doing my best. It's I live on a very shoestring budget. I got to find work and whatever. I've been through a lot. I didn't plan things to work out this way. I'm not going to go to the reason why I did. And I just want to be a musician and play. I'm trying to play the piano. We have a day cafe, and my own keyboard is getting my skills to a point where it's undeniable that I could make money out of it, like I did in South Africa all those years, which I had a long career and had a lot of gigs. Something my brother is in complete denial of. He doesn't think it. He thinks it's just a lie. It never happened. But anyway, lots of love to all of you. A beautiful Saturday. Cheers.